The British came off rather ignominiously. Means they never done no good, no how. All right, shut up. Right. Well, in 1814 we took a little trip along with Colonel Packham down the mighty Mississippi. We took a little bacon and we took a little beans and we fought the blooming British in a town in New Orleans. Well, we fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. There wasn't as many as there was a while ago. Well, we fired once more and they began a-running on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah. Well, we looked down the river till we see the British come. There must have been 100 of them beating on the drum. They stepped so high and they made the bugles ring. Well, we stood beside a cotton bales and never said a thing. Well, we fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. And there wasn't as many as there was a while ago. We fired once more and they began a-running all down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Well, Pakenham said we could take them by surprise if we didn't fire a musket, so we looked them in the eye. Yeah, we stood quite still till we see their faces well. Then we opened up our muskets and we really gave them well. We fired our guns and the British kept a-coming. And there wasn't as many as there was a... Yeah, when we fired once more, they began a-running all down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. The rabbits couldn't go. They ran so fast that the hounds couldn't catch them all down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Oh, we fired our guns, British kept a-coming, and there wasn't as many as there was a while ago. Oh, we fired once more. They began running all down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Well, we fired our muskets till the barrels melted down and grabbed an alligator and we fought another round. Well, we stuffed his head with cannonballs and pounded his behind. And when we touched the powder off, the gator lost his mind. Well, we fired our guns, British kept a-coming, and there wasn't as many as there was a while ago. Fired once more, they began running on down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Well, they down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico. Well, they down the Mississippi to the Gulf of Mexico.
Gateway to North America. Today, the financial capital of the world. Population, 8 million people. In 1776, this is a city of just 20,000. It will soon become the battleground for the biggest land invasion in American history. Three miles from Wall Street, 23rd Street crosses Lexington Avenue today. The rebels dig in to defend New York at Kips Bay. Commander of the rebel army is General George Washington. He has already driven the British out of Boston. A surprise victory against superior forces. But they'll be back.
hour is fast approaching, on which the honor and success of this army and the safety of our bleeding country depend.
Joseph Plum Martin enlisted in the rebel forces at 15. Inspired to fight under Washington's command. A farm boy, he joins thousands of untrained volunteers.
Our Revolutionary Army was quite something. It was in a nation that wasn't really a nation yet, just starting out. And we took on the greatest superpower of the time.
Washington's ragtag troops are about to face the best equipped and most powerful fighting force in the world. June 29th, 45 British warships mass off Staten Island. Bearing down on New York City, the ultimate war machine of its day, the British ship of the line. Each ship is made from over 2,000 century-old trees, and each is armed with up to 64 heavy cannons. Capable of hurling a 24-pound cannonball at the speed of sound, delivering it to targets over a mile away. One ship of the line costs the equivalent of a modern aircraft carrier. From the 13 colonies hold an emergency session. They include radicals like Ben Franklin, Thomas Jefferson, and John Adams. What they're debating is nothing less than high treason, total independence from Britain. The penalty is death.
They're in the midst of a revolution, the most complete in the history of the world.
It's the birth of American democracy.
We have to expect a great expanse of blood to obtain it.
Some don't believe the rebels stand a chance.
We are about to brave the storm in a skiff made of paper.
But the doubters are outnumbered nearly 5 to 1. On July 4th, 1776, the delegates ratify a document that will change the world. The Declaration of Independence.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights.
On July 12th, 2 British warships open fire on New York City.
Must have been quite a shock, because New York up to that point was a pretty quiet city. It was a business city. So you had significant support for the rebels, but also significant support for the people who were still loyal to the king.
A month later, Joseph Reed, secretary to George Washington, tracks the British fleet massing off New York. Over 400 ships, the largest British naval task force until D-Day. "32,000 British troops prepare to storm Manhattan Island. They outnumber Patriot forces 2 to 1. Just 5 of the biggest British ships carry more firepower than all the Patriot guns in the city. Reed is awed by the sight.
When I look down and see the prodigious fleet they have collected, I cannot help being astonished that a people should come 3,000 miles at such risk, trouble, and expense to rob, plunder, and destroy another people because they will not lay their lives and fortune at their feet.
It's the biggest attack on New York City until September 11th, 2001. But the rebels will stand and fight.
The difference for me was that the British Army was fighting for a king. The Americans were fighting for their lives.
Plum Martin is one of 500 men standing guard at Kips Bay.
Have a look.
The first thing that saluted our eyes was all 4 ships at anchor, within musket shot of us. The Phoenix. I could read her name as distinctly as though I was directly underneath her stern.
The assault begins. September 1776. New York is under fire. In 1 hour, 2,500 British cannonballs smashed the rebel defenses at Kips Bay. "4,000 British troops storm Manhattan. Tough and battle-hardened, a British redcoat has 6 times more combat experience than a Patriot Army recruit.
Get back in your lines!
Washington watches his army collapse.
Hold the lines, men!
They retreat along an ancient Native American path that will later be known as Broadway. September 20th. New York, now in British hands, burns. No one knows who starts the fire.
It gives you a sense of the people who wanted to be free, how much they were willing to endure. The city being burned, the city being occupied, it gives you a sense of how much they wanted freedom.
More than 3,000 Patriot POWs are thrown into prison ships in New York Harbor. The most notorious is the HMS Jersey, nicknamed Hell. One prisoner, Robert Sheffield, escaped to tell the tale.